a cyber attack will shut down bank computers and possibly also airline and electricity grid computers.
This is CNN breaking news. Airports all around the world, businesses, so many different institutions being affected right now by this IT outage, this major glitch.
はい、こんにちは皆さん。今日はですね、先日世界中で大混乱が起こりましたサイバーの不具合。その件に関して今日は皆さんに紹介したいビデオがあるので一緒に見ていきたいと思います。で、その前にですね、その不具合を出してしまった会社クラウドストライクの CEO がインタビューに答えているので、そちらの方を先に見てから本題に入りたいと思います。
People are wondering what happened. So what did happen?
The system was sent an update, and that update had a software bug in it and caused an issue with the Microsoft operating system. And we identified this very quickly and remediated the issue. And as systems come back online, as they're rebooted, they're coming up and they're working. And now we are working with each and every customer to make sure that we can bring them back online. But that was the extent of the issue in terms of a bug that was related to our update.
It was a single content update that has managed to shut down air travel, credit card payment systems, banks, broadcasts, street lights, 911, emergency around the globe. Why is there not some kind of redundancy or some sort of backup? How is it that one single software bug can have such a profound and immediate impact?
Well, when you look at the complexity of cybersecurity, you're always trying to stay one step ahead of the adversaries. Excuse me. And just 1 second, please. In this particular case, our systems are always looking for the latest attacks from these adversaries that are out there. So this content update went out, and as it does, and it's been doing for many years. Obviously, we've got a robust team that's looking at the safety and security and the quality of these updates, and we have to go back and see what happened here. But if there's a negative interaction with the way some of these operating systems work, and in this particular case, it was only the Microsoft operating system that was impacted, you'll see a reaction like this, and this is what we've seen here. Well, yeah, first and foremost, again, just to reinforce what you said, it wasn't a cyber attack. It was related to this content update.
はい、バグが問題だったということです。しかしびっくりしたのはこれ部分的に更新するのではなくて世界一斉に更新をするんですね。少しびっくりしました。で、今日紹介したいビデオは私が2年ほどフォローしているサイモン・ハントという地政学に詳しい方がいらっしゃるんですね。で、いつも同じことを言ってるんですが、どれだけね、政治、経済が絡んでいるのかということと、そして私たち一般人がどのように備えていかなければいけないのかというビデオをご紹介します。で、その前にですね、皆さん、彼の言ってることを馬飲みにせずに、必ずご自分でリサーチしてくださいね。あくまでもこれは個人の意見、個人の推測ですので、皆さん必ずリサーチの方をお願いいたします。では、ご覧ください。
Russia sees 2024 as the optimum year to introduce BRICS' own currency, which will be based on the local currencies of BRICS, with gold probably replacing the dollar as the intermediary instrument. If that happens, then it's the start of America's hegemony and dollar-dominated world falling apart. Because BRICS members at the moment are only 10, accounting for, I've forgotten the exact figure, about 1/3 of global GDP. But within a very few years, that membership will be at least 40 countries, accounting for well over 50% of global population and GDP. So if that happens, then that is the end of the dollar US dominated world. They're not going to allow that to happen if they can stop it. which could, which would mean even war. Before the end of this year, and even before the end of August, is that there will either or both be war in Europe or a cyber attack on the G7 banking system, which will then have knock-on impacts on airline computers and electricity grid computers. Not a nice outlook for the next 12 months. My bet is that it's more likely to be a cyber attack at the moment, but a cyber attack probably launched by G7's own intelligence services, who will then blame China and Russia because they want to shut the banks down in order to introduce central bank digital currencies. Question you have to ask, there was this big meeting, which I can't tell you where it was, earlier this month between NATO officials and their government representatives. And at that meeting, so I am told from one of our sources, is that plans to attack Russia were outlined. Why then did the UK Prime Minister suddenly and unexpectedly declare July the 4th for an election? He will have known what was said at that meeting.
Maybe Sunak doesn't want to be a wartime prime minister, but maybe.
No. Well, I mean, I don't know. I would only guess. I mean, he knows what is coming. And he clearly doesn't want to run the country in a wartime situation.
You think this could happen sometime in this, like July, August?
I think before the end of September. One consequence that should war break out, what will Japanese households do with their savings that are parked offshore? They will want to put their arms around their own cash. So you will see a flood, an exodus of money coming out of America and Europe. And what will that do to the carry trade? And what will then be the consequences? No wonder the banks will be shut down.
Yeah. So, like the Japanese savers, the Mrs. Watanabes of the world, they'd be selling treasuries, gilts, European government bonds. That would be driving yields and interest rates higher. Hence,
Correct.
All the banks failing, they'd have to close everything down.
Correct.
So I guess you want to have some paper money stored away, and I guess also physical gold and silver, I would say.
You want all things: cash at home, precious metals, which I favor gold. Silver is a trading asset. Gold is a secure asset. Food, because not only will food prices soar, there will be a huge shortage of basic foods. And the fourth item is water, because your water supplies may well be cut off. I think that after the US election, the system will reopen. You have a new administration, hopefully, in the early months of 25. And that is when the Fed and other central banks throw everything into the system to prevent a systemic failure, which means that equity prices will double in value from their lows, say S&P at 3,000, going to probably around 7,000. But by the end of 26 or early 27, and the peaks in the equity markets, the problem then is that inflation will be soaring and long bond yields will be soaring with, for instance, the 10-year US Treasury at over 10%, enough to crash a highly indebted global system, which will then probably coincide with the breakout of the real war. That's the rosy system. The other scenario is that all of that happens in the second half of this year and early next year.
はい、ということらしいですが、皆さんはどのように受け止められたでしょうか。 毎日アメリカいろんなことが起こってますが、世界情勢、世界経済、一般人にはね、あまり関係ないと思いますが、私たちの生活がね、普通に生活ができるように私たちも少しずつね、何か備えていきたいなと思います。ではまた次回のビデオでお会いしましょう。じゃあね。バイ。